Turning to the pandemic, COVID vaccinations are expected to ramp up this week, but some doctors are calling for a new strategy, including possibly cutting doses in half. Meanwhile, hospitals are preparing for conditions to get even worse. This morning, doctors are bracing for an onslaught of new COVID cases.
We're averaging 2,000 to 3,000 deaths per day. When an event occurs like the Christmas and New Year's holiday, you usually have a couple of week lag before you see an additional uptick of cases, which is always followed by hospitalizations and deaths.
Despite warnings to stay home, airlines have seen more than 14 million passengers in the past 2 weeks, even as the U.S. death toll surges higher.
It's like treading water from 100 feet below the surface. You're already drowning, but you just have to keep trying because that's what you can do.
COVID hospitalizations topping 100,000 for more than a month. California seeing the worst of it.
What's happening in Los Angeles can and will be coming to many communities across America.
In L.A., the Army Corps of Engineers now helping hospitals running low on oxygen. Overwhelmed funeral homes now turning away families. And in the Bay Area, at least 43 staffers at this San Jose hospital have tested positive. The outbreak being linked to a worker who wore an inflatable Christmas costume. The county is now banning employee break rooms for all businesses. And across the country, near Boston, a second emergency field hospital is opening today.
This is going to be an exclusively COVID positive place.
Meanwhile, this morning, a new vaccine is bringing hope. The first doses of Oxford's vaccine, praised for being cheaper and easier to store, are now being distributed in the UK. Back here in the U.S., the rollout of the Pfizer and Moderna vaccines remains on a slower than expected pace.
There have been a couple of glitches, that's understandable.
Some of the first public vaccine events were held this weekend in places like Houston, where 250,000 people called the health department for only 750 appointments.
No, I just want to get back to normal. I want to see my kids. I want to go back to work.
Operation Warp Speed officials are now considering drastic measures, possibly giving out half doses of the Moderna vaccine to, in effect, double their supply of shots.
We know it induces identical immune response.
But Dr. Anthony Fauci warned against stretching the doses.
We don't know whether or not that's going to be good enough.
Supply isn't the only issue with the vaccine rollout. Shipping problems, funding issues at the state level, and even weather have been blamed for delays.